All right. Hello. Welcome to Lost in Phoenix podcast. My name is Seamus McMahon. Today I am joined always, as always, by Joshua Powers. How you doing, guy?
Doing great.
Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about a couple different one main topic.
Possible
obviously.
subtopics.
Yeah, and possible subtopics. And the main topic being war and its technological implications on society as a whole.
Yeah.
Because there's as terrible as war is, there's some pretty good stuff that's come out of it.
Yeah.
Technology-wise.
Terrible,
yeah.
It's been such a huge driver of innovation, and we wouldn't be enjoying computers and cell phones and all the treasure trove of modern amenities that we so take for granted.
Yeah.
You can almost trace them back directly to the amount of innovation that happened because of war and the competition aspect, which
definitely the competition.
I mean, it was definitely happening during World War I, but mostly during World War II, you saw just a new level of competition happening technology wise.
Yeah.
Just as far as the rocketry that was being developed by Von Braun over in Germany,
and then America.
And then during Project Paperclip took all of the Nazi scientists. Russia took some as well, and then that was when you saw huge, like with nuclear weapons, really.
Yeah. Nukes are bad, man.
Nukes are very bad, but then it gave birth to nuclear power. I mean, it's not the greatest form of energy, but
it is the greatest.
It is great in a lot of ways.
Possibly the best, next to like all the renewable sources.
Yeah, but the reason it's not great is because it lasts for a really long time, and when there's a next huge innovation, which is going to be cleaner, which is going to learn how to harness the power of waves in the sun, then we're just stuck with all these old nuclear power plants, and that's why it's bad. But right now, at this current moment, it's not.
Right.
But in the future, it's really bad to have all of that nuclear waste.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing is it's the nuclear waste, because nobody's wanted to, since the 60s, develop any way of doing it cleanly.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't thinking about that when they were trying to fucking innovate and create it. They were just fucking trying to create it.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking of the grand implications of how to get rid of the shit.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing of like chemical waste or like nuclear waste, it's because of the process that they use to mine the uranium. Yeah. And then to deplete it, it creates this waste. But there's a process that you can do it that creates zero waste whatsoever.
Is that so?
Yeah. It was used a long time ago in like the 50s and 60s to create the nuclear bombs without there being any waste.
Really?
Yeah. And then that process, just because the way that they do it now is they're trying to produce so much power in such a small amount of time that there's no way for them to really calculate how they're going to move all that waste and especially how they're going to use all this uranium that they already have and all the different stuff that they're using. But it's if it was done correctly and done over time, it's probably the cleanest source of non-renewable energy, because it is a non-renewable energy source because you have to mine something, right? So like oil, you have to get it from the ground, and once you've gone through that, there's nothing left, Exactly. So once you go through all that radioactive material, you can't really make any more.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of brings us to the next point where you're going to start seeing in our lifetime, or maybe a little bit beyond, but you're definitely going to see the first missions to go and like mine asteroids in a commercial manner to try to extract the harder to acquire not chemicals, but rare earth minerals like gold and titanium and all that shit.
Some neodymium magnet shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely not even in titanium. I'm not an expert on what's up there. I just know that eventually it's going to be a huge industry once Elon Musk figures out how to get us there quite cheaply, and then it's like commercially viable to actually get it and bring it back.
Right.
So that's going to be a huge. I'm not sure if war is going to be the main driver in that happening. I think that's more of like a from a business perspective, but that's really going to help us out a lot.
Yeah.
If we can find some things up there that are plentiful and we can bring them back and, use them for the greater good.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
When oil's just starting to deplete fully, we can kind of our space programs will be sophisticated enough to actually get there, get the shit out of the ground, bring it back, and actually use it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
But the reason that we can even do that now has a lot to do with war.
Yeah.
And even in the 60s, Kennedy announcing to the world that we choose to go to the moon because it's easy, but because it is hard. And one of the main reasons why he wanted to do that is because we're locked in this race with the Russians. They had Sputnik, and we were like, oh shit, well, we thought America was superior. Now we have this new enemy, and it was like this race, race for innovation that led to us getting to the moon, supposedly.
No, we were on the moon. Josh, don't start that. We were on the moon.
I think we went.
We were on the moon.
But then
100%.
You had that, and that was, direct. The possibility of conflict drove that innovation.
Right.
And then also just the development of all the things around it to, like the communications devices that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, radio wasn't radio until after World War I.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a thing. You could get radio stations, air quotes radio stations, in like 1910, kind of. Yeah. But it was like through your phone, a landline that you had, that you dialed a number, and then they had a band playing in a place through a microphone, then going through this giant generator that connected to the phone lines that you had to call up again and be like, are you guys playing? All right. And then have a speaker connected to the phone.
Yeah.
And
these had those big boards.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. That was radio, was you called up on your landline phone on a special time. Yeah. Right. And hooked it into a speaker that you had installed in your house. And then you got to hear music.
Wild, bro.
But then after World War I, you had radio.
Yeah.
Where then you could transmit over long distances pre-recorded messages. Yeah. So, I mean, without World War I, we wouldn't have radio.
Yeah. And then before that, we also had Morse code.
Yeah.
Prior to that. And let's talk about something more recent that we use all the time, which we're using right now, is the internet.
Yeah.
Was created by the earliest incarnation of it was created by DARPA, I believe, in the late 60s. Obviously not the World Wide Web, but the infrastructure that the internet is kind of based upon was invented by DARPA, kind of as a means for having a centralized location where they could store all the data that could be accessed from remote points.
Right.
So that was I'm not sure if that was directly related to conflict, but
it probably was
in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, you said in the 60s? That's what they were doing?
Late 60s. I mean,
because that's like Cold War time.
Yeah, I mean,
which the Cold War was a war.
It's a result of them being very well funded by the government around that time. I mean, they still are.
Right.
The national security infrastructure is very well funded and always has been ever since the late 40s.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
It's been funded on a new level, and which has led to all of the things we currently enjoy. But yeah, so I mean, in a way, everything kind of stems back to war. We had these two major wars here in the last 100 years, and look at how much innovation happened in this last 120 years, as opposed to all the years before that.
Right.
All the hundreds of years before that. I think we just needed to
I guess so. I mean,
they're not the main reason for it, but they definitely had a hand in it for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah. I mean, cell phones were developed by the military.
Is that? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were not in the way that we have them now, but 80s and late 70s, early 80s, big
phones,
ass,
bruh.
Yeah, where you had a fucking suitcase.
Yeah, that suitcase phone.
It used to be a whole backpack full of batteries that made one phone call that a soldier carried out onto the battlefield in World War II, to make a long distance phone call so that they could order a supply drop or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
there
we go.
Yeah,
you got cell
definitely.
phones, It's a long distance. It was satellite.
Yeah.
So,
but it was definitely
cell phone.
The technology was used primarily for that before it came into the commercial sector.
Yeah. And they developed it even more into like the Vietnam War, because it was, again, still satellite, but you could do a little bit more. And it wasn't like a whole backpack. It was like a satchel around your waist.
Yeah, the innovation started happening.
Yeah. So they started to make it a little bit smaller, which was awesome.
And then we're reaching this new, I mean, one could argue that even though we're in such danger, you know, there's a lot of things like China and Russia, which are pretty much the two big dangers. I mean, we're a lot safer, arguably, because of these innovations. Like we're safer now because of the nuclear innovation, because now it's like, well, if you want to go to war with Russia or China, we're both going to be done. There's not going to be a war. It's going to be over in 30 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the rest of the world's going to be fucked from the fallout.
Yep.
So in a way, these innovations, they're forcing us to become less barbaric, which is good, you know, because there were so many wars through the last, you know, since antiquity, for the last several 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So many, you know, kings and emperors and conquerors just fucking committing these heinous, barbaric acts.
Yep.
I mean, you're seeing, if you look, you're seeing less of that. It's still definitely happening.
Oh, definitely, now. Especially in the Middle East. That's happening a lot.
It's definitely happening, but it's happening less than it was then.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Sense.
I guess it's still happening in certain places, but I mean, in a major way.
Right. Yeah, you know, it's not a one country taking over multiple at a time. It's one city-state trying to take over another city-state within a country. And
we're also interconnected from this technology that it's like if somebody tries, like when Russia tried to annex Crimea, the whole world is like, whoa, watch it, fucker.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, as a country, you can't be blatantly imperialist anymore. You kind of have to do it in the shadows. And I'm hugely encouraged by all this technology that we have in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think there's not even going to be really a need for soldiers to go to war at a certain point, because robots are going to take that over. Who knows what the fuck that's going to be like? But the whole point is all this innovation is eventually, you know, that's caused by war, is eventually going to make us safer.
Probably.
I think
it depends on how it goes, because I mean, when you're talking about robots, like being used in a military sense, it gets a little bit scary, because robots don't have feelings.
Yeah.
You know, you can't program. It's unethical to program a robot that has empathy, because then it would be able to pass what's it called, the Turing test, which is not good. Because if an AI passes the Turing test, that means it's basically human. And if it's human, then the chance of it trying to take over is a little bit more prominent than with.
Yeah, for sure. I think AI is the nuclear of this time, if that makes sense. I didn't really frame that in the most eloquent way, but whoever controls AI moving forward controls the whole picture.
Yeah.
So it definitely is important that I hope that America can keep up, and you know.
Right.
But who knows? I mean, the Chinese are very, I wouldn't say adversary. I don't see them personally as an adversary, but it's scary to think of a world where China possesses that, because it's a communist regime.
Right.
And they've already shown they're capable of numerous atrocities and.
Yeah. Which none of the world governments are really doing anything about. Which sucks.
You can't, man. They've acquired this huge amount of power and prestige so recently.
Right. Well, not even recently. It's been since 1920, 1930. Let's see. The Communist Party started in the 30s, right? When did Marxism start? Was that the 30s or 40s?
But they haven't. I'm not sure.
I think it was after World War II, because it was after Lenin.
Yeah.
Or not Stalin. That's it. Because Lenin was a Marxist. Yeah. But like the communist government in China was set up not too soon after that. And when we were fighting, yes.
Was it Meow?
I think so.
Yeah.
But when we were in Vietnam fighting the communists there, we were also fighting them in China, or at least close to China. We were fighting them in Laos.
Yeah.
Which is, it's still in that Asiatic region.
But we would never do that. We
Right.
wouldn't be doing shit like that now because China is a superpower.
Yeah.
They've become a superpower very, very recently.
Yeah. Everybody
scary.
relies on them because it's cheap labor,
It's cheap. Yeah. It's such a weird place.
Yeah.
It really is. But, whoever comes up with AI and perfecting it's going to be their show.
Yeah. I mean, we're close. Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa and all the other ones.
There's a lot of scary things that are happening with it, but also I think in the same way that humanity kind of rose to an elevated level of understanding when nuclear power was created.
Mm-hmm.
I have faith that we could do the same thing, especially with AI, where the implications are you could do so much more damage with the AI than you could with nuclear. There's so many ways to misuse that, for governments to misuse that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's encouraging that, even though we have these awesome nuclear weapons and, there's ones now that are insanely sophisticated that can blow up huge, like almost, I think, state size. I think I heard Russia has one that can blow up the state, like the entire state of Texas.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean, it's encouraging that really there's been all the tests, and then it's only really been dropped 2 times.
It's been dropped way more than that.
But I mean, talking about
on another country.
On another country,
yes,
it's only been dropped twice, which is encouraging because you'd think that it would have been used a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the military guys around that time, like when after World War II had come to a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard some things where a lot of the top military brass wanted to use them in other conflicts, like in Korea.
Yeah.
When we started the Korean War, and then even a lot of the top military brass wanted to be heavy-handed with them during the Soviet Union conflict. So it says a lot that our leaders were able to navigate us out of that by that whole new level of understanding that this is a whole different beast. That we're not just dealing with guns and artillery anymore. This is like. The devastation is different.
Yeah.
And it's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's hugely different.
Yes.
I mean, and it became such a big deal because we developed it, and then another country went, well, if you have that, I can make it too.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it so that you don't use it on me. And then another country went, well, I'm going to make it too, because then you guys can't use it if you're going to use it against me. I'm going to use it against you. So it became a nuclear deterrent. So if
that's what it is now. It's more of a deterrent, really.
Yeah. I mean, so like the next point, if it is AI, the deterrent would be for another country to develop their own AI and say, this one can do this and yours can do that. Yeah. So if you use yours against me, then I'm going to use mine against you. And then we're at a standstill again, which is, it's kind of what the Cold War was about.
Yeah.
The Cold War was an actual fucking war. There was soldiers on the ground in multiple places around the world.
Yeah.
Fighting wars.
There's a lot of more covert aspects to that one as well. Yeah. It's really.
Yeah. It was an information war, but at the same time, it was a physical war.
And it's going to be fascinating, like whatever whatever conflict happens next, it's probably going to be over like a miscalculation.
Ooh, yeah, probably.
And that's where the damage can really happen. I've watched countless documentaries detailing little situations within the Cold War where if somebody didn't allow their cooler head to prevail, there could have been a nuclear war. Mm-hmm. Like there was an incident where a guy in a submarine off the coast of
I've heard about that one. Yeah. What was it? He was off the coast and didn't get a message or something.
Yeah, he didn't get a message, but he everything in the submarine was telling him, this is fucking happening. You need to drop this right now. But he didn't, because cooler has prevailed. And I'm sure there's probably other instances like that, maybe like diplomatically as well, because they weren't dealing. It wasn't, the communication wasn't like how it is now, where it could just be instantaneous. They were actually like writing. Kennedy and Khrushchev were actually writing letters to each other. Yeah, they were writing fucking letters to each other. Yeah. So I mean, the amount of time that it takes for a letter to get somewhere, it's just
it's a lot. It takes a long time.
And it's encouraging that we were able to make it through that, because that could have been it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the military was extremely. I mean, they still have. They still are extremely powerful. Mm-hmm. But the fact that Kennedy, as a young president, was able to really fend those guys off and say, no, we're not going to use nuclear weapons. We're not going to fucking do what you want. Because they wanted to go in and really blow up, like, fuck up Russia.
Right.
With a bunch of nukes. They wanted, their reasoning was that if we just drop a bunch of nukes now and just fucking end it for them, that devastation will be less than if we prolong it.
Right.
And then it's going to be fucked on both sides. That was the reasoning. But it's still good that that didn't happen, because what a different world we would live in had we chose to use these sophisticated weapons in such a barbaric manner. That's like almost the same manner that, like, if you gave those to Napoleon or one of those leaders, like, oh yeah, we got this, we can crush them.
Right.
Oh, use it. We don't give a fuck about life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I don't really know where to go from there.
It's such a weird way to look at it too, because people dying, especially in a war in a physical conflict such as war, it's such a weird thing to talk about the, like, upside, because it's all downside.
Yeah, because I want to firmly mention that I do not think if in my perfect world we would never go to war again. We could work out everything diplomatically, live in peace. I hate war. I hate what it does, what it stands for. It's really awful. Yeah. But to deny that there's been some good to come out of it, I think is not, you have to look, if you're looking at it honestly and objectively, there has been some good that's come out of it. Yeah. Having said that, it's really bad that it even had to happen in the first place. I wish that it didn't happen in the first place. Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of like, oh man, maybe not what I'm thinking about, but like a historical fallacy to look at something so terrible and say that there was nothing good that came out of it, while also having the technology that was built out of it. Yeah, it's wrong to do that. So I mean, it's such a weird stance. Weird thing to think about, weird thing to talk about, but it's part of life, and you gotta kind of do that sometimes. You have to deal with the bad stuff sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
We end them always like that, but we'll continue to do it because why not? That's our style.
That's right.
That's our style.
Got a style now.
Yeah. So war bad, technology good. Sometimes they come hand in hand. Actually, I think. I think the next level, if it is AI, it's already been developed, and we already have it. Somebody has it. And I think Tesla has it.
Think so?
I think Elon Musk has it, because he's been warning people against it.
But he has at the same time he's going hard to develop it.
Hell yeah! I mean, he had that. You've seen the Cybertruck, right?
I love it.
I love it too. I think it's so fucking cool. But nobody knew about it. Like, Tesla is the one company that has been able to keep everything under wraps. Yeah. No, like,
got those
test models,
non-disclosure agreements, bro.
Not even like maybe that. They probably have their technicians sign that sort of thing. Yeah. But it's like super strict. Like, you're gonna lose your job and we're gonna fuck you.
It has
royally.
He's using the same, probably using the same structure as the military uses, where it's like it's probably compartmentalized, where you're doing your job on this, like, you don't really need to know about what this other person is doing. Right. Yeah. You're developing this engine for something, but you don't know what it is. It's just an engine. I mean, I don't know if Tesla's doing that, but it seems like if you're going to keep that under wraps, you probably need to use methods like that, because it's a very effective way of keeping something like that under wraps, is to just have it be segmented, or is that the right word? Yeah. Like compartmentalized. Compartmentalized. Yes. Yeah. So if the next level is AI, we already have it, and Elon Musk has already made it, and he's warning everybody else not to make it, because he already has. He wants to corner the market, or he's had it for a little while, and it has turned out to not be a good thing. Yeah. Even if he doesn't have it, like, we'll just say, even if he doesn't have it, if there's anybody that could develop it, it's him. Yeah. It's him and his team of just highly intelligent people. I'm so glad that there's people like Elon in this world. We need 10 more like him. We really do. We need people like that. It's really funny that he named his company Tesla after Nikola Tesla, who was like
beyond his time.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s or whatever, early 1900s.
Elon is definitely like the Tesla of our time, for sure.
Yeah, he's the new Nikola Tesla.
For sure.
100%.
If you look at how that guy has built up what he's built, it's just like an almost unbroken chain of fucking success. I mean, like, he's definitely...
Not really.
He's definitely failed a lot, too, but
yeah,
like, the fact that he was able
bunch.
to... If you look at, like, the companies that he's developed and
that have made it.
that have
PayPal.
really made it. Yeah.
PayPal. He had a hand in eBay, I think, at some point.
Just a brilliant guy.
Yeah, Tesla and SpaceX, and he's got the another company that's doing.
You got the Boring Company.
Yeah, the Boring Company for the tunnels. That's such a good name.
I know, I love it. That's a really good name. It's layered.
And then he's got the internet company that's working in hand with SpaceX.
He's got Neuralink.
And yeah, and that's it. That's what I was thinking about. Which they're probably working on the AI.
Yeah,
that's it. You know,
that's
it's going to be brain implanted AI.
Yeah.
The same thing you got on your phone right now where you can go, "Hey Google," right?
He said on Rogan's podcast, he says, you already are a cyborg. He said, you essentially, you have all this information. It's in your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually it's just going to be in your mind, and, you know, we are essentially cyborg. That is true.
Yeah, pretty much.
About it. Any question that you have, any song, any question that you have, you could probably find the answer to instantaneously if you have an unlimited data plan.
Yeah. Just think about what you could do with that was just in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, you would know everything. Yeah. I think that's the next step. That's the next human evolution, is putting a chip in your brain.
Yeah, and then you could just have access to everything.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be fucking crazy.
It's gonna change everything. It's gonna change everything, bro.
It's gonna change everything instantly.
Everything.
Can you think of the porn you can view?
Oh my god,
dude!
People definitely the population is gonna go down. The porn is gonna become so sophisticated that it's like that episode of Black Mirror where the two dudes started fucking each other digitally.
Yeah.
Because it'll feel real, man. It'll be indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely kids will start having, people will have less and less kids.
Yeah. Oh man. That's fucking
We're going to be cyborgs anyway. Eventually, once that innovation happens, then eventually the next thing is for us to be all cyborg, and then be able to live for a lot longer.
Yeah. Cybernetic enhancements.
Yeah.
We already have them pretty much. That's another war-based thing.
What was that? What was that like?
Cybernetic enhancements.
What's
like
that?
Making it to where you can throw further or take hits.
Oh, you're talking about
like robot stuff in your body.
Yeah.
Not like paraplegic sort of stuff where they replace your limb.
Is something you actually put on?
Mm-hmm. Or get implanted into you, Oh man. Yeah. Like a brand new eye that can see further, right?
Oh man.
Dude.
Imagine. Hopefully somebody just doesn't come along like a Dr. Evil who has a lot of money and resources and there's like the Elon Musk for evil.
That's just Elon Musk.
We already have it. It is Elon.
We already have it.
Yeah.
All right.
Dr. Evil.
But yeah. Oh, so I think that's a good place to stop now.
Stop, yes.
So we talked about quite a few different things.
Yes.
Again, war bad. Technology
bad.
Good. You got to take the good and the bad together. Yeah. But that's going to be it for this episode of Lost in Phoenix podcast. We are Lost in Phoenix. If you want to hear more from us, I would recommend going and checking out our other podcast under Working Title Podcast, where we talk about music and movies. Right now we're going to be starting our Bloody Christmas series, where we talk about all of the Quentin Tarantino movies, starting from Reservoir Dogs all the way up to The Hateful Eight, since we already did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So if you're interested in listening to that, go check it out. Working Title Podcast on YouTube. At some point we'll have a website.
Yeah.
Combining the two where you can download.
We'll innovate like Elon.
Yeah. We'll get it done.
Get it done. God damn it.
That'll come in the future.
Yeah.
Keep listening if you are. I really appreciate it if you do.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, because it's fun. Share it with your friends. Yes. Share it with your dog. I don't know. Whoever will listen to our weird ramblings on different things, share it with them, because we really want to start a community sort of thing.
Yeah.
It should be fun. Right. So let's try it. Go check Working Title Podcast out. You've been listening to Lost in Phoenix this time, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.